Welcome back to another edition of the Pick Six podcast, UK Pick Six podcast, even. And I'm really tempted to leave Jazz's pudding discussion that we've just had in there about milk bread.
The milk bread. That sounds like always. That sounds like Charlie from Always Sunny. It's like created a pudding. To be honest,
we've boiled your bread in milk perfectly, sir, as you would like. Yeah,
it's not boiled; it's just led to soak. But whatever.
The other thing I need to comment on is Jazz's background, which is like some kind of odd stately home.
Yeah, if you're
it is a little bit oldie worldy, isn't
it? He's moved from The Office to Downton Abbey to do.
Did you paint that bowl of fruit, Jazz? Or
no? I wish I did. I think it's quite. I was just gonna put it into frame. I think it's quite a good picture actually. But no, I didn't.
Is it fruit or is it flowers? Actually,
it's definitely flowers. Definitely not fruit.
Yeah,
lots of flowers. It's like a bouquet of flowers. Or a bouquet, however you want to say it.
So for a sport NFL podcast, this is
pretty off topic.
Yeah,
food and then kind of interior decorating plus art.
Yeah, we should have asked. We should have asked our guest about interior decorating. Actually,
we should have done. Actually, yeah.
Obviously, you're bouncing around NFL teams as well. Like I guess you have a house somewhere, but you then move somewhere else and rent for the season and all that kind of stuff. Does that create like interior decorating problems, or I don't know? But we did have a guest.
Maybe the next guest.
Or maybe not.
Maybe that'll be a bit off topic again.
Thought process allowed doesn't seem that interesting, to be honest. I'll take that back.
Leave it for the interior design podcast.
Yeah.
Do that.
We had Brandon Copeland of the New England Patriots on the show, though. That was more interesting than talking interior design. He was wicked. I think we've spoken.
Great chat, minutes. Great interview. Just inspiring. Absolutely inspiring.
Yeah, loved it.
What was it like talking to a pro athlete?
Intimidating, but he's just a really good speaker. So we didn't have to kind of put a lot of work in. So, and I don't think that me or Jazz said anything too stupid. So that's nice.
We'll find out when Ollie goes back and listens to it again, and we find out that actually we ruined the whole thing. But that's fine. We're allowed to do that. And then Ollie can fix it for us.
I claim ruining Ollie's career and life is my right.
Oh, cool. So this will be the last UK Pick Six.
It was fun though. It was really good fun.
Yeah. Brandon was really cool. Big thanks to Whitney Holtzman for sorting out Brandon joining us and having a chat. All things New England Patriots, all things his off the field work dealing with educating people in how to be financially sufficient, basically. He used the phrase, which I've heard him use a bit, teaching people to feed. Because he said, because you asked him about a free holiday, and he was like, I didn't say I was going to feed you. I said, I'll teach you to feed, you know what I mean? Like,
I said to fish.
Oh, fish, that was it. Yeah, no, to fish, excuse me.
Because, I mean, if you're going to get the quote, get it right.
Well,
awkward.
I'll go back and listen to it in the show and then edit it. This is the joy of editing.
There you go.
The producer writes. You got it.
Yeah, we bounced around a load of stuff, though. Covered plenty. His movements around the NFL, a fair bit of his career, stuff in New England.
Bit of food.
Bit of
wardrobe.
Bit of wardrobe. Competing with Cam. It was great. Enjoy the pod. Have a look on the YouTube site and check out the videos that we put out on social media on Instagram and Twitter as well. We'll give you the handles at the end of the show. Enjoy. Chat with us. It's been quite a strange few months since the last time I spoke to you in Miami. World's kind of got a bit crazy.
Yeah,
just
been a little different, right? Just a little different. Keep us on our toes, I guess, all of us, right?
How are you holding up with everything, man? How's it all been from just rather than an NFL player's perspective, but from your personal perspective, being in the States and everything?
Yeah, no, everything has been. I mean, obviously, it's bizarre to watch what's going on in our world, and I mean, it's one of these things that you literally never, ever thought could happen, in the sense of, I mean, sometimes you go outside and the world is starting to open back up a bit now, for better or for worse, but Go outside. Sometimes it looks like a zombie movie or something, right? Like middle of I Am Legend. There's nobody outside. You're just like, what is going on? But there's also, for me, I choose to try to find the positivity in everything. And I think I'm a big believer in Christ and in God. And I strongly believe that everything happens for a reason, good and bad, right? And so I understand it's a part of a bigger plan. And I choose to try to find the opportunity in everything. So for me, that opportunity looks like spending more time with my family than I ever imagined I ever would, right? And taking time to enjoy the little things and the details. And, my son just turned 1 last weekend. We wouldn't have got to spend this much time together because I'd be in Florida training for the season right now and in March and all of those things. So, yeah, you take the good with the bad, and obviously in the meantime, praying for all the people affected by COVID, affected by this, pandemic, and it's definitely out of our control. However, I choose to focus on the things that I can control and spending family time. I'm never going to complain about that.
Congratulations on the little one's first birthday, man.
Thank you.
I was actually watching an interview that you did kind of this time last year or about 10 months ago. And you said, it was 2 months since your son had just been born. And I was really worried and panicked that we were actually going to tread on some sort of birthday thing this week or anything like that. And doing a Zoom call with us and birthday cake all over the place and stuff, man.
Yeah, we're not that important that you're going to miss anything like that.
No. What did you do for your son's birthday? Did you have a socially distanced party?
Yeah, well, no, we didn't even do a party. I mean, we did a party with the people who are already at our house. Called some people on FaceTime, but my wife had us up till 2 a.m.
Wow.
Thankfully so, because we were able to put together this amazing, balloon presentation, all these different things. I mean, I told her we need to start an event planning business. That might be the new side hustle if football.
Right.
Another business.
Another side hustle.
Yeah. But yeah, so we put together a bunch of different things like that. Obviously got him cake for we did a little cake smash, had a bunch of little games for him and stuff like that. Got him a ball pit, obviously can't go to, I remember being a kid going to Chuck E. Cheese and diving into the little, plastic ball pit with all the different colors and all of that stuff. So, we were able to get one online and he's happy. He won't even know.
He won't remember all
it. It's for you guys, really. Yeah.
You wanted the balloon thing. Don't lie.
Exactly. So, I think he enjoyed, by his pictures, he enjoyed. I posted something to my Instagram of him dancing after he smashed his cake and everything like that. So, it's he's a funny kid. So
I just got an image of you, Brandon, diving into the ball pit on your own.
Crushing everything.
Yeah.
Right.
There's always one, man. There's always one. Kind of a strange time to be moving teams as well then, this off-season. And so I was looking at the dates and how it all lined up. And obviously you signed this off-season for the New England Patriots. Congratulations. You love cold weather teams, it seems, going Detroit, New York, and then New England. But it was mid-March that you signed with them. And then almost 10 days or so after that, Brady kind of announces that he's moving off. Was there a little bit of come on, man, I've just got here and now. Really?
Yeah, I want to go to a Super Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, as a football player, to be quite honest with you, clearly it would have been amazing to play with, arguably the greatest quarterback of all time. I would consider him the greatest quarterback of all time thus far. But, I'm also very excited to be in the Patriots organization, be under the greatest coach of all time. For me, my own personal football journey, I'm just a guy who's extremely excited to have an opportunity to put a football down and have a quarterback say hut hut, right? So my job is to go hunt them down, and I just hope we're able to do that as we normally do this year and stuff on time and everything like that. But, regardless, that's what I'm really excited about. So, definitely good luck to Tom and but I'm excited to grow as a player, as an athlete, as a person in the Patriot way and in the Patriot system.
What's your off season been like? Obviously, you haven't been able to do any OTAs or mini camps. Has that all been distance learning? Did you get your playbook sent to you by recorded delivery? How did that all work?
Yeah, no. So we did a good job this year of doing virtual meetings and stuff, similar to the everyone else in the world. Just had to take our meetings virtually, get creative with learning and making sure that you're digesting the information. Training, I'm fortunate to own my home and be able to turn my garage into a pseudo weight room. I mean, it's not LA Fitness or you Exos or House of Athlete or anything like that. There's no squat racks and all that stuff in there. But it for me, it's a chance to get back to being a high school football player where, before the weights and all that stuff mattered and you had to do a bunch of push-ups and run around the house until you were close to throwing up type of thing and really push yourself. So for me, it's kind of like Creed 2, where I'm not sure if you saw that movie, but where, Rocky takes Sylvester Stallone takes Michael B. Jordan out to, somewhere in the desert or something. And, they just go back to basics. And for me, that's been fun. I mean, I think it's actually, I'm praying that it actually helps my body this year and pays off for me in terms of the amount of flexibility, recovery, and the different type of training, functional training I had to do this year to get ready for the season. What
are you benching in the home? Because Dave has been getting swole this COVID. he's been maxing out his reps a bit more. Right. So I'm just wondering where the competition is between you and him gains this offseason.
Oh dear.
Right. I love it. Unfortunately, I've been doing mostly push-ups with bands and stuff. I finally got some adjustable dumbbells, but they only go up to 55. By the time I was trying to get the 90s, they were all sold out. So, you make do. Just do push-ups until you can't do them anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I get so annoyed the fact I've only got the 55 dumbbells as well, and I just pop them away. It's so useless to me.
I love it.
Is it kind of nice? You touched on kind of going back to like the fundamentals and basics, and you almost have to take a bit more responsibility on your own shoulders for maintaining your progress this off season and maintaining that. Is that something you think is actually beneficial for players in general and certainly for yourself at this time?
Yeah, I think I'll speak for me. I know it's a benefit for me because that's just what I've done my entire career, on and off the field, So my professional life and personal life, I take complete ownership of it because at the end of the day, if I don't make it, it's going to be on me, right? I'm not going to be able to blame a trainer or a coach or anyone who did not give me an opportunity or COVID, right? Like at the end of the day, it's going to be on Brandon Copeland, and I'm the person who's going to have to live with it forever. So for me, that's how I've attacked my entire career for the past 8 years and or the past 7 years, and then going into year 8. Clearly, I think this situation lends itself to those who have experience doing that. But as you touched on, Ali, it's probably going to be. I'm interested to see how players come back to camp because I'm sure the spectrum will be all over the place, but it is a challenge from a discipline standpoint. There's a lot of stuff going on, and even just the mental part. Sometimes from a nutritional standpoint, sometimes you just want to have a great meal, and when I say great meal, I mean a fatty meal that you shouldn't be having type of thing, and you just want to enjoy and let your mind just unwind. But you ultimately have to understand, throughout this entire time, hey, like I still have a job to do. I still have a mission to accomplish, and so we'll see. I mean, I personally feel great. I personally have kept strong. I've done a good job of, I do a good job throughout my career of giving myself time to just be a normal person in the sense of not caring about a diet and overeating and taking some time to give my body a little bit of a break. I think when you overeat and you give your body a break, then you're kind of messing up. So, if you're going to overeat, you got to be ramping up those workouts to kind of balance it for me personally. But then I also have been great at making sure, all right, let's take these 3 days to just decompress. And then now let's go full on, training camp, hell week type of training just to get ready. And I'm in the midst of that now actually as well. But I've done that in cycles throughout, since March. We literally got into our house March. We came back from Florida, came back from a union meeting, our union rep meetings in Florida in March, and literally have been locked down in the house since then, besides going to the grocery store. And now I'll go up to a turf field up the street and train one-on-one, just to keep, again, a tremendous amount of space.
So how are they going to work that with training camp then? And when you get there, you're going to be all going to be COVID tested? Is it going to be certain position groups are in, certain ones are not in? How's that going to kind of function? If they told you how that's going to work?
That is the $1 million question.
Okay.
Right there. We're still they're
still
literally negotiating those things right now. So I think everything is not unfortunately, but things are negotiation between the NFL and the NFL Players Association. Yeah. I have a pretty good amount of faith that ultimately guys won't be playing unless we were presented with the safest environment possible. And I know that, ultimately our teams, I know the Patriots, for example, like they want us to be safe. They care about our families. They care about who we are as individuals off the field as well. So, I'm sure that they're kind of ironing out the details. No one is arguing about the safety measures and protocols that need to be in place. It's more about, from the outside in, I think it's more about actually getting everything that you need from an equipment standpoint and, cleaning stuff, equipment standpoint, cleaning, cleaning supplies standpoint, plexiglass, all of those types of things. So it's not that people are, it's not like, hey, well, they don't need to be tested, or, hey, they don't need this, or, hey, we don't need to clean up after this. It's more about like, well, is it legitimately possible that we can get enough to to last us a week in the NFL, locker room, as opposed to, the 5 months that we need, right? So I think, but I'm sure they'll get creative. Unfortunately, it's not my job. It's above my pay grade.
Yeah, God, I wouldn't want
Just
that
do
job.
what you're told.
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
Well, it's the thing, isn't it? I mean, if you look at the NBA and their bubble, that works for a I'm going to do inverted commas, a non-contact sport, because they can play games in short spaces of time. But for the NFL, with the number of players on a roster, plus the coaches, plus everything else, you just couldn't do that. And then play even twice a week would be too much before the injuries would just rack up and take away the product completely.
Yeah, I think like you said, the biggest thing is just the number of people. I mean, when you look at the NBA roster, was it 12 to 15 guys? We're 53, and then you got 10 practice squad. I mean, that's a lot of people
10
right
coaches,
there. Right? So, yeah. I mean, trainers, referees, equipment people,
water boys.
Guys,
It's a big,
so
big ass bubble.
it's a right. So it's I do not envy the decision makers on this one. I'll say that.
Hey, Brandon, to ask you a question outside of football a little bit, you're really well known for your investing. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad a few years ago, and that made me kind of rethink my personal finances. I really didn't know what I was looking at, the difference between a liability and an asset, stuff like that.
Gotcha.
How did you get into it? Was it always something that was there, or did you always want to go to
Yeah.
business school and get into it, or was it kind of, did you read something or watch something and then that was kind of a light bulb moment? Or
Yeah, no, I think experience got me into it in a sense. So when I was in high school, I was fortunate to go to this great program and be under a great coach. His name is Biff Poggi. You know, he's done a lot of things to help people. And our motto was building men for others. And one of the things that I would always notice, we would have like our summer workouts. And, you know, it'd be like a random Wednesday or something like that. And he would have like 40 some pizzas for the guys after the workout. And there would be times where I would take a whole pizza home. And this is very random, but I'm literally giving you how some of this interest in money started. And I would just always be like, as a young kid, like, how does he afford to do this? Like the people just came, he just signed, you know, gave his credit card signed and just let them go. And like, how does he do this every week? Like, you know, and I remember having an opportunity in the summer. I asked him, like, hey, can I come work with you? Can I come intern? He owned his own business. He owned a hedge fund. And I didn't know what it was at the time. Can I come work for you? And for me, going there, that was the first time I saw a Bloomberg terminal. That was the first time I was watching CNBC. And, you know, I still had no idea what the numbers meant and what was going on, but that was my first introduction to it. And I just ultimately understood, like, you know, it seemed like, and I know he works extremely hard. He definitely works hard, but it seemed like, you know, this was a way to build wealth and be well off financially. And, you know, he wasn't sweating to do it. He didn't have to run down a kickoff or tackle anybody or run through a wedge to do it. And to me, that was extremely intriguing. So from there, that's what like piqued the curiosity. And then from there, it just became an evolution in terms of finding ways to dive in more and learn more and get more experience until I could finally manage my own money, right? You know, first you got to get experience and learn in it, but then you ultimately have to understand. I mean, I've used my talents or my God-given ability to play football to get me capital and investable assets that now I can put to work, right? So yeah.
One of the things I've heard you say about that as well, Brandon, was that you always wanted to make sure that you haven't got to rely upon someone else signing your check.
100%.
Do you think that your kind of journey into the NFL, having been cut and then signed, really made that the focus of how you thought you should live your life? And if you'd been a first-round draft pick, for example, and had been given millions from day one, do you reckon you still have that outlook?
I pray that I would have. I think coming into the league, I always was, you know, I think just coming from my background growing up and just understanding how precious every moment is. Also having a former NFL player as a grandfather in the sense of my granddad, Roy Hilton, you know, I think for me, I always wanted to be more, do more, and have a bigger impact than just a good football player, right? And so even if I 100% think that my experiences in year 1 and 2 have just solidified and maybe made me even more extreme to how much I work off the field and how much I save off the field, because I've had it taken away from me. I understand how quickly the game can be gone and how quickly those checks stop coming in. But even coming into the league, I was day trading my rookie year in the middle of the season, day trading options and stuff like that. Really risky, stupid stuff, in my opinion, looking back, because I wasn't able to focus fully on football. That's probably why I was practice squad. But, you know, I've always had that mentality of like, I don't want to be dependent on anyone, because I understand that football, again, doesn't last forever. That's guaranteed. And you never know when, knock on wood, you know, when your body is going to say, hey, like, this isn't for us anymore, right? And that might not It might not tell you, your body might not tell you that nicely, but it might tell you that in the form of a meniscus tear, a broken trapezius, right? Like I have had right here last year, right? Or some other way, right? And so for me, it's always about making sure that whenever, you know, I know 100% it's guaranteed that the lights will turn off on this show, this NFL show at some point. I want to always be able to make sure I can walk in the other room like a little kid who's afraid of the dark and click the lights on and we just keep going, you know? So
that's a really, really good outlook. I like that. That image is brilliant. I love that.
I mean, I think my favorite mental image is you going into an NFL locker room midweek and they're all like going, oh, did you see, you know, the Lakers game last night? And you're like, man, did you see the NASDAQ last night? Big smile on the face kind of thing. Do you stand out in an NFL locker room because you have that attitude towards, you know, you creating a financial success for yourself off your own back and have always had that kind of slightly alternative mentality? Like, I mean, I joke, like standing out, talking about the NASDAQ in a locker room or something, but have you noticed that your attitude is very different to a lot of other players around the league that you've met and interacted with, do you think?
Well, I think we've all expressed it differently. So there's not anyone who's in the league who's thinking like, I'm trying to be broke 3 years from now, right? Like there's, you know, everyone is working hard to maximize this opportunity for themselves and their families. For me, again, I just express my off the field pursuits and passions differently than some other players. Now, some players are only focused on football, and you know, a lot of people are like, well, that's wrong. As I've spoken with some people, and I've said, you know, how many people from graduating from your college would kill to be making $500,000 this year? That's the rookie minimum, right? Mm. You would put all of your work and effort into that, right? Like if you were becoming a doctor and making $500,000 for the year, that would be your extreme focus. And guess what? You have the ability to, if you put the investment in, you can potentially turn this into a life-changing contract deal, et cetera, right? So you can't knock the players that do that and take that mindset on. For me, again, my goal, we have a foundation beyond the basics Inc., and I think a lot of the heart behind the goal, the mission is to help kids and youth realize their full potential. The way we do that a lot is by giving access to information and sharing as we go. So for me, I always think, and you know, I tell this to my students, is like the reason for my financial literacy class, the Life 101 class, is there's people who write their tell-all books at the age of 50, and I always think that there's people who are that person's peers, the author's peers, probably look at the author like, why the hell didn't you tell me this stuff when you were 26 taking the chances, right? You wrote the book at 50, 55 and said how you amassed X amount of dollars and yada, 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 right? Well, why didn't you share this with me while you were taking the chances? Because maybe I would have taken the chances with you and we all could be writing our tell-all books. So for me, I just share as much as possible because I know that there are a lot of people interested, not personally in what I'm doing, but in what, not personally in me, but in the things that I'm diving into. And for me, when I learn stuff about the industry or a different thing, my natural heart inclination is to share it. And by virtue of sharing it, it's gained some eyes and attention, I guess.
It's giving back, isn't it?
Amen.
It's always good to give back. Yeah.
Amen. That's legacy. For me, that's legacy. I mean, that's helping people beyond me. You know, if I can help somebody be in a better money situation, you know, not that money buys happiness or is everything, but if I can help somebody save a little bit more money every single year, so now they can apply it to a vacation with their spouse or a vacation with their children, right? they don't ever have to know it was from me or don't ever have to thank me or anything like that. But that to me is like, that is it. That is legacy. Those are memories that, you know, if I can have a little small impact on that, that is, you know, I'll be a happy man leaving this earth.
I'd like to go on holiday next year, Brandon. Do you want to pay for that, or?
Now, see, I didn't say I was going to fish for anybody. I'm going to teach you how to fish. That's what I'm doing.
All right, that's fine. I'll stay home then. I was just wondering, Brandon, the just kind of leading on from there. I'm just kind of playing connect the dots, but is there the potential for you, given your business experience and obviously your experience in the league now as a player, to maybe, you know, when you step away from being a player, to go into a backroom role, or is that something you've thought about?
Wait, backroom? Sorry.
Sorry, like as an executive or
a general manager.
Yeah, on the path to being a GM or anything.
No, that's a great point. I would not like to do it, to be quite honest with you.
Okay, fair enough.
For me, I mean, do I think now? I hope, you know, the listeners here understand my heart. I'm not a cocky individual. Do I think I'd be good at it? Yes. Like, I think I know talent, understand talent, but I think we all, to a certain extent, believe that we do. But by being in the locker room, being an undrafted guy, you know, you think you know when you see it, right? I've been on teams and you think you know when you see it. However, for me, that's just not the type of lifestyle I want to live. Like, they have a lot of sacrifice that they make. They work very, very hard, working around the clock and around the year. And although I do that in my own business endeavors, that to me is not necessarily my particular passion or the particular living I want to make. And I also, you're giving a lot of people opportunities, but for me, the hardest thing too is like, you have to take away or end a lot of people's careers and opportunities as well by virtue of the business. And I don't, you know, I'm not sure if that's not what I would want to do in the sense of there's some stories out there I'd get too emotionally tied into it, to be quite honest with you, to be quite blunt. So, you know, it'd be hard to cut that undrafted guy who's came in and worked his tail off, but we never really had a spot for him anyway, type of thing. So
better to stay positive, I think.
Yeah, I suppose as well. Your kind of business is with your wife, isn't it? You work together. Yeah,
we do. She's been an amazing driver, not only for me just as a personal inspiration and muse, but also just in everything that we do, from real estate. She's co-founder of our foundation. I mean, to be quite honest, she's come up with a lot of the names of stuff that we've done. I mean, you know, she works at Google herself, and she always says she's not a creative person, but you know, I think she's one of the most creative people I've ever met. And you know, again, not to get into that sob story or anything like that, or that the Notebook, but you know, she's inspired me to want to give back and have a heart for giving back. I think I've always wanted to, but I think, you know, by virtue of just dating her and you know, she's born for some of these things. And she has that patience. You know, I was watching her with my niece and nephew last week. They're 6-year-old twins, and we're doing, you know, we make them do school time every day. And, you know, I'm sitting there watching her walk through some of these exercises with these kids, and I'm like, how do you not give up already, but how do you not get frustrated? How do you keep your patience? You know, for me, I would have quit a long time ago. Like, I turn on the TV, as sad as it sounds, I'll turn on the TV or YouTube and like, we're watching some history right now, or we're watching some Planet Earth right now. We're going to watch some science. Look at the fish, right? she can walk the math and the subtraction and all of that stuff and keep working with them and stuff. So, you know, she's amazing. That's my heart right there.
How on earth are you an NFL linebacker? Because you're just like the nicest guy, and yet go out and slaughter people for a living. I don't understand this, man. Where does that?
Where's the anger at?
Yeah, man. You flip a switch. I think you keep. I told my trainer this the other day. It's like, you know, for me, I always know when I'm ready for football or ready to to hit someone because you just get a little more antsy. I think for us, for a lot of players, it's their release. You don't walk around like just on edge, ready to fight and fists clenched and all of that type of stuff. But for us, it's our counseling, it's our therapy sessions. For me personally, it is. So I take a lot out of my frustrations with the world out on the field, my frustrations in life, and also it's you learn as an NFL player. For me, I've learned that the power is in controlling the mind, and I was terrible at it my first couple of years, and that's why I think I wasn't able to stay in the league like I wanted to. But coming back, I've realized that the ones who make it for a long time have ultimate control of their minds, and they know when to turn it on, when to turn it off. They know, like, even in training, when to turn it on, when to turn it off, right? Even in nutrition and on everything, they know how to flip the switch. And then when it comes to competing, they know, one, it's always on when you're competing, but it's just a different level, and they know how to tap into that different layer in their mind that just makes them a sick person to deal with. And you don't have to be like me. Even on the field on Sundays, I'm not a dirty player or the player that's going to that you're going to be like, oh, this dude he's spitting in people's faces and all of that type of stuff. Like, it's not that I'm polite on the field. I just have fun. And when you it's fun to whoop ass. I mean, to put it bluntly, right? Like, so
that's the takeaway quote from this, Brandon.
Yeah, you just,
I like that.
You have fun and use that as the release. And yeah.
So you're not a trash talker?
Mentally, the only time I talk trash is if I am a little out of it for whatever reason. So, if I've learned, like, if you wake up, for example, like, you don't always wake up on Sunday wanting to play, right? Or you have a Thursday night game, you just finished playing Sunday, and it's not that you don't want to play, it's like your body might be aching, sore, right? Like, you don't just wake up out of bed like, whoo, let's go do this, right? There's certain games that you do, right? And there's a lot of times you do. I don't want anybody to misquote me or take me the wrong way of like, oh, I hate doing this. No, there's certain games where I'm like, oh, I cannot wait to go out there. But again, if your body is aching, you kind of like, all right, man, I just got to mentally get this thing right? And so what I do personally is those are the games where I'll talk trash, because mentally I could be completely out of it. As soon as I talk trash and I get you to say something back, now it's personal. It has nothing to do with my body. It has nothing to do with how I'm feeling today. It really has nothing to do with the team at that point. Now it's just literally, and that's why I've been good at football, is because I look at it as a one-on-one matchup. It's literally about me and you, and me just whooping your ass. Right. I mean, that's just whether it's special teams, defense, wherever it is, whether it's in the parking lot. Once you've said something back, now I'm tied to that, right? And I think that was, years ago, there was I remember there was a big falling out about Richard Sherman after the Michael Crabtree. He did the Michael Crabtree breakup, and everybody was so, how could he do that? Why would he do that? Blah, blah. How would he be so demonstrative after the game? Well, his switch was flipped, right? Like, he hadn't flipped it back off, so to speak. But, like, you don't ask somebody to literally go into a mindset where I have to literally move 330 pounds of human flesh that doesn't want to be moved, and then go aggressively make a tackle. And like, you have to get in a different mindset to do that. And then you put a microphone in my face after and say, hey, like, how you feeling today? Well, give me a few seconds to decompress a bit, right? So again, I mean, just understand, like, people aren't out there just thinking, oh, let's just have some fun today, right? We're not about to pick dandelions together.
Absolutely. Going back to that idea of that sort of mindset and thought of being on the field versus off the field, I think that you were coached by Kevin Green for 1 year in the Jets, if I'm not right, if I'm wrong in saying that. What was he like off the field? Because, of course, on the field, he looks like a larger-than-life character that looks a bit like a crazed man. Did you have any funny stories to share with you when you were there?
Man, all I got to say about KG was he was one of the most caring, down-to-earth coaches I've ever had in my life. I mean, you talk about a guy who cares for his players, goes to bat for his players, and also not only respects his players just because he's been there, he's been one, but I mean, he really goes to bat for his guys, and he's just such a guy who loves life, always positive. I mean, even when he's coaching you up hard, he still will find a way at the end to just like give you some form of encouragement. So for me, I was able to take a lot away from him as a football player, and just understanding him a bit more is pretty amazing. I mean, what he's accomplished in his career, not only playing, but also coaching. But then too, I think just like his positive spirit was something that was truly, truly contagious. There's no one around the building that would have anything bad to say about a guy like KG and a personality like him.
Brandon, we've taken up a lot of your time already, man. So I'm going to ask if we can do a quick one short question each, and then we'll.
Hell no. No, I'm joking. Go ahead. Yeah.
I really appreciate the time, man. But I know, like, you got a family and stuff.
No. I'm messing with you, brother.
You were saying you had that chick deal as well.
It would have been funny if that was like serious. Like,
get out. Right.
Nah, I'm good.
Dude, I had a run-in with Justin Tuck after a game in London, where in a post-match interview I asked him if it was okay to ask him some questions, and he looked at me dead in the eyes and was like, Mum said that if you ain't got anything good to say, don't say anything at all. And I've never felt so small in my entire life, man. So like I would have understood if you'd been like, no, we're not doing this. Like, okay, cool.
Nah, I'm good, man. That's funny though.
You've played in a few places. And you did say that, you like the cheap meal every so often. You got to pay and, put the work in afterwards. But
right.
we had a discussion about the perfect NFL journey around hitting like the best food joints and things like that. And I was wondering, what are the best food joints from the teams that you've played for in the cities in the NFL?
Yeah, man. Well, I'll say one, I'm from Baltimore. So when I played with the Ravens, we had an amazing amount of access to seafood places, right? So Seaside Restaurant in Maryland, Glen Burnie, Maryland, I'll go ahead and give them a shout out. They do some of the best crab cakes, all these different seafood platters and stuff, shrimp and potatoes, all of these different things. So that's definitely a favorite of mine. Definitely get the bread pudding too. It's bad. It's great. It's bad. I'd say one of the best places from a food standpoint that really was challenging for me and my weight was Tennessee, playing with the Titans. Nashville, Southern cooking.
Yeah.
A lot of ribs, a lot of fried foods, fried chicken, all of those different types of things that just, they challenge your discipline, one of those places you can't go in order. Desserts were off the charts as well. And then I would put those top two places that I've been in from a food standpoint. Clearly, the other places have amazing things. I'm sure New England will have some great stuff. Detroit had some good places, but from those places, they definitely it was a struggle to stay underweight every week. Put it like that.
You should have stayed in Tennessee and just ended up as an offensive lineman. You'd be fine.
Right.
You're a big nose tackle.
Yeah, exactly. That would have been
like Vince Wilfork with that big old gut of his.
Oh, yeah. That's a big boy.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, Brandon, about obviously, after Cam signed at the Patriots, it's quite an exciting time. I think there's a new energy around that organization based on that, certainly from a fan point of view. Have you considered how you're going to have to change your wardrobe to kind of keep up with? Have you got any feathers in hats planned, or any purple suits that
Long
are
coats.
in the back of the wardrobe that you're going to pull out? Or
Yeah, man. One of the best lessons I've learned in the league is don't try to compete, man. And so I'm gonna just let him have the crown. I know that usually I'm the best dressed guy on the team, but I'm gonna just let him have the crown this year. But I'll compete for second best the entire year.
I like that.
good man. I like that.
And for me, Brandon, with your position this year with the Patriots, do you reckon they're going to keep you more as an outside linebacker, play as a Mike? Are they going to move you around? Is something that you want to be able to be versatile so you can impact the game in multiple positions? What do you reckon is going to be the outlook for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I'm learning it all, to be quite honest with you. So unfortunately, we haven't been able to get together and get on the field. And I guess the good thing about what I've done as a player previously, and just being able to learn multiple positions quickly. The way I always train and stay ready is, coach, wherever you need me, so that you can feel comfortable putting me on the field today, right? If you can play multiple positions, then you have more of a chance of getting on the field by virtue, right, of just the numbers game. And so for me, I'm just literally ready to play wherever, whenever they want, type of thing. So that's literally, I'm actually kind of waiting to find out myself as well. But again, I think what I typically do is I just kind of go into camp, and, I think a lot of people, they'll get to know me as well, during our time together. Because a lot of people, when I go to teams, typically, there is a learning process, but they don't really understand how versatile I actually am as a player, from being able to rush, to cover, to setting the edge, to playing every special team if need be, to calling plays, to blitzing off ball, to being on the line of scrimmage, to putting the hand down. I mean, I've literally played almost every position on defense besides safety and DB, right? So, so just trying to find ways to just plug into the system, and again, let the people whose job it is to put the best players on the field make the decisions.
Yeah, I mean, of course, Bill Belichick's known for wanting to put people wherever he can to make them a joker. So maybe that's going to be one of the big kind of highlights of your year. Maybe wait and see.
Hope so. I hope so. We'll wait and see. We'll see how hard I've been working, man. We'll see some.
It's exciting.
Hey, look, get Copeland in at fullback, man. I know they've brought in another fullback this off-season, but, Jimmy Devlin's a hard man to replace. And I'm just saying, there's a gap there. Let's see how versatile he is, man.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you taking the time out, man. That was it was really cool chatting with you again. There's so much more stuff I know I personally would still love to talk to you about at some point. Would love to do it again if you're ever free and available. Obviously, during
100%.
the season, you can start sending us maybe the playbook and stuff like that, and we can start passing.
Right. Start printing it up and putting it online, right?
Yeah. Hey, that's a new asset, isn't it? That you can use, financially beneficial.
Subscription service, right? Yeah, that's funny.
Big thanks once again to Brandon Copeland for joining us, taking some time out from, I guess, the awkward preseason preparation that the New England Patriots are having to do to get ready for an NFL season that may or may not still take place. No one really knows. But in the meantime, we'll probably still continue putting out podcasts and trying to chat to as many people from around the NFL as we can over the next few weeks. You can follow us on Instagram, UK_pick_6_podcast. That's UK_pick_6. UK_podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at UK Pick 6 Pod, at UK Pick 6 Pod. If you want to follow Jazz on Twitter, it's at Jazz Gillum. If you want to follow Dave, at David Bluck1, and myself, O_J_Wilson. Remember to get onto the YouTube channel as well to see more video clips, nice shortened versions of the stuff that we've been chatting with Brandon Copeland, and back clips as well from previous episodes. And until the next one, take care, stay safe, and enjoy.